In this section, we'll cover insights from community-based observations in coastal Arctic indigenous communities. My name is Roberta Turuk Glenn, and I'm a graduate student with the Alaska Arctic Observatory and Knowledge Hub and the International Arctic Research Center at the University of Alaska Fairbanks. The Arctic environment has seen rapid change over the last century. Climate change-induced warming of the Arctic is occurring twice as fast as the global mean. Northern and northwest Alaska are experiencing dramatically warmer winters and a marked decline in average seasonal landfast sea ice thickness and extent. Associated with these changes and covered in this section are seasonal cycle shifts, extreme weather events, and unpredictable sea ice conditions. These changes are felt in Alaska's rural indigenous communities and are impacting subsistence activities, infrastructure, and travel access. Impacts to subsistence activities as a result of environmental change are reported by community-based observers Billy Adams and Bobby Schaefer in Utqagvik and Qikqtarjuaq. Changes to seasonal cycles affect sea ice, in turn affecting the duration of marine mammal hunting seasons. There have also been reports of mass die-off of animals due to heat in 2019 in western Alaska. In the fall of 2019, whaling crews were not able to land a whale until 2 months into the season. Billy Adams describes changes to the subsistence hunting calendar.
But for hunting, where I was thinking about going out earlier and preparing our minds for other dangers that we might have, we're starting to encounter, like rougher waters and having to go out further to harvest animals that are needed, like AAOKH. Our time of hunting has been cut really short, because once the ice goes, it goes 40, 50 miles out, and that's, in my mind, it's too far. Animals are, they're on the ice, and then they come up here to feed on the clams a lot. Then they know where that shoal is. They call it the Anna Shoal, and they learn how to linger around there for the summer, all the way till fall. So, but they learn how to go to Point Lay. There's thousands upon thousands of walruses that are starting to use that barrier islands near Point Lay, and they adjusted themselves, and they're smarter than we think they are. And the animals are up here in the Arctic, at least they're very adaptive to the change. Their body conditions have really improved over the last few years that we've observed.
In the winter of 2019, conditions in Qikqtarjuaq limited hunters' ability to travel on the land. Bobby Schaefer describes changes to the subsistence hunting calendar.
We used to get caribou almost like clockwork in August, late August, early September, coming through and migrating south. And this year, we got them in November. The conditions out there were just too warm for them to go south. The waterfowl, they're starting to nest a month earlier than they normally nest. And, so they're in a state of confusion as well. But we're so used to the norm that when something like this happens, the animals have to evolve and adjust.
Impacts to travel access as a result of environmental change are reported by observers Billy Adams and Carla Sims-Kayotuk in Utqagvik and Qikqtarjuaq. Lack of reliable sea ice conditions and unpredictable snow and weather patterns affect the ability to safely travel on the land, sea, and ice. Billy Adams describes dangerous sea ice conditions in recent years, impacting freight haulers who travel between villages.
The planners who make the ice trails, they really have to plan a lot sooner. Some of the freight haulers, like the local people like Kulli and Arnie, Erie, they used to go over the ocean a lot sooner, like in late in December, January. But they've been, they've been hugging the coastline because the ice has been not really set in. The ice opens and closes. It makes tide cracks and those kind of things that the freight haulers are worried about. And I think it's happened more often now is that those more and more cracks, but they wait till January and to February where it's a little safer. So that adjustment has shifted a lot for the traveler, but a lot of people are very happy about being able to get groceries from Barrow or from driving to Fairbanks and now
Carla Sims-Koyutuk also reports a lack of snow in the winter of 2019, hindering the ability of hunters to traverse the land. Impacts to infrastructure are reported by Carla Sims-Koyutuk in Kaktovik, Billy Adams in Utqervik, and Bobby Schaefer in Kriktalruk. Shifting tundra and permafrost as a result of warming and erosion during the fall and winter months are impacting community infrastructure. Carla Sims-Koyutuk reports a collapsed snow fence, which is used to manage snowdrifts in town as a result of erosion of the ground. Billy Adams also describes erosion in recent years, concluding that open water, bigger waves, and warmer temperatures and wet and windy weather all contribute to erosion. Bobby Schaefer describes impacts to infrastructure as a result of erosion and permafrost thaw.
Yeah, when you have massive melting of the permafrost, we've had to change the way we do things because, you can't build without understanding permafrost, and you want to prevent the melting of it because a lot of buildings around here, the housing authority, they had to readjust that, and so they're having to readjust these buildings all the time. I think people are trying to adjust the architecture to try to accommodate permafrost and what it's doing, but I think they're kind of slow to doing it because it's just one of those things where you have no control over. When they built the investment in front of Foxley, they put huge rocks and riprap over about 1,000 foot of it, and they built them where it was about 2 foot above the road. They figured it was high enough to prevent further erosion of the beach, and within 5 years, the rock that was 2 foot to 3 foot above the road is now level with the road.
Understanding and responding to these climate change impacts can be informed by incorporating local perspectives and observations. Community-based monitoring as a means of monitoring and documenting a changing environment has been increasingly applied by Western researchers in rural communities around the world. However, the concept of monitoring the environment is not a new one. Indigenous people of the Arctic have been observing and responding to changes in their environment for millennia in order to safely carry out subsistence and hunting activities. These observations are passed down from generation to generation as indigenous knowledge or traditional ecological knowledge, which is the knowledge and experience obtained through extensive observation of the natural world accumulated over millennia. They are the first true scientists in this region and practice the passing down of information related to the environment in the form of stories and lessons while incorporating indigenous knowledge. Collaboration with indigenous people can promote a more holistic understanding of Arctic environmental change and capture local observations not found in the literature. The Alaska Arctic Observatory and Knowledge Hub, or AAOKH, works with a network of observers in northern Alaska to document long-term weather, wildlife, and environmental observations with the goal of providing access to tools, resources, and scientific support to share their knowledge and expertise in the context of a changing Arctic. The network currently consists of 6 local observers in 5 coastal Arctic Alaska communities. Communities include Tikiktaluruk or Kotzebue, Tikigaq or Point Hope, Olognik or Wainwright, Utqervik, which is formerly known as Barrow, and Kaktovik. Observers report observations in their own words and at time intervals comfortable with them, and AAOKH adds each observation to a standardized database. AAOKH works to accommodate the observers' observations by adding any relevant parameters or indigenous terms as they are reported. Testimonies from the observers at annual AAOKH meetings give insight into observing themes for the year and gives observers a chance to summarize key trends or events. Community-based observations are a valuable means of documenting perspectives of environmental change from an Indigenous worldview, and they can inform a broader understanding of Arctic environmental change. Observations can inform future planning and adaptation strategies for local communities. Observers Bobby Schaefer from Tikiktaluruk and Billy Adams from Utqervik describe their biggest concerns moving forward.
You know, we're ocean people. We've always thrived on the whale and the seal, you know, for thousands of years. Of course, it's changing, but you know, but in the long term, I worry more about the water because I think if we continue to warm, life in the water will cease to exist.
It seems like we're divided from the rest of the world to try to make it on our own, but those are the other hurdles that we need to be working at. I think the biggest concern is just like we just talked about the erosion. It's taking our livelihood in front of our eyes. You know, I don't like to think that way. We're still gonna be here, and we're gonna live with it and go on and living our happy lives as Finnish